Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nolan. This is Tech Dad over 55. My goal with this channel is very simple. I just want to help those of us that are in my age bracket understand more of the technology that we're running across every day. Today I want to talk about the different AI tools that we come across on a fairly regular basis, whether they're on your phone, on your computer, something that you can use all the time. Now, I work in technology myself. My full-time job, I work with AI all the time, helping other businesses understand how to use these tools. So today I'm going to run through some of those with you, show you how to use them, when to use them, where to use them. Now we're going to cover 5 today. We're going to cover Siri for those of us with iPhones. We're going to cover Google Gemini, Grok, ChatGPT, and another brief mention of Microsoft Copilot, but I've already made a video on that that's fully done. You can check my channel and watch that video there. As I said, I will be putting out full-length videos on each of these, on the other 4 that I haven't covered yet, but today we're going to hit top level on each. So let's get started. So the first AI tool I'm going to cover for you is Siri. Most of us have iPhones, including me. So what can you do with Siri? And this is really the only one on this list that is specifically for the iPhone. It's just built in, it's their default, right? Android has Gemini, iPhone has Siri. But you can use it to make phone calls. You can use it to send text messages, even write emails, read messages aloud. You can set reminders. You can add calendar events. You can set alarms and timers. I do that all the time. Hey Siri, set a 10-minute timer, please. There's my timer. Makes it really simple. I use this every day for something. I can have it check the weather. Hey Siri, what's the weather? Oh, allow it to use, yes. And it pops up the weather for me. Nice. You can also get directions. It can answer questions, answer quick facts. Hey Siri, what's the capital of Washington State? Olympia. I can have it answer out loud as well too. I have that turned off on mine. But I can also use it to set up to play music, my podcasts, my books on tape. I can even have it recommend local restaurants. Like I say, we'll go through more of this in a deeper dive video that's specifically around Siri, and I'll actually record some from my phone at that time. The next one we're going to be covering today is Google's Gemini. Now you can use this on the phone the same way you would have used Siri as I showed you earlier. Android by default uses Google Assistant for talking to it the same way I was doing with Siri. But you can replace that now with Google's Gemini. It's a much stronger engine, by the way, and it can do all the same things I was showing you earlier on the phone. It can set up timers, reminders, it can make phone calls for you, it can send text messages for you, it can help you script emails. But unlike Siri, you can use Gemini in a browser, as I've pulled up here. When I log into this, you'll notice that a lot of these browser interfaces are very, very similar. It's usually a very blank screen with just ask the question. So in here, if I want to say, how do I drive from the Villages back to Nashville for New Year's? And it will see through my misspellings, but I prefer not to misspell. So how do I drive from the Villages back to Nashville for New Year's? And I give it parameters around that. I want to split the drive into 2 days, and please find a nice place for me to stay overnight along the way. And then I tell it go, and it starts looking. And this is one of the big differences between just using a search engine versus using an AI engine. Because now what I've done is I've said, hey, I'm going from this place to this place. I want to split it up over 2 days. And here's how we're going to do it. Whereas before, what I'd have to do is enter those 2 map places, right? The villages in Nashville. I'm from Nashville. And say, I want to go between these 2 places. I want it to take 2 days. What's the best way? I would have to figure that out. And I'd kind of have to guess the midway point and say, okay, I'm going to look here and look for hotels. I don't have to do that when I'm using Gemini. So, hey, sounds like a great New Year's trip to split the drive into 2 manageable days. I recommend stopping in Marietta, Georgia, just northwest of Atlanta. Here's your choices. And basically what it's doing is saying, hey, you're going to front load your drive 6 hours and 10 minutes on the first day, 3 hours and 15 minutes on the second, because you always want to show up wherever you're going, not exhausted. That's a good way to do it. You'll notice that it automatically can export things like this to Sheets, to Google Sheets. If I need that in a spreadsheet, that's great. I don't need this in a spreadsheet. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to go to Marietta and then to Nashville. Overnight recommendations. Well, for a nice place to stay, Crown Plaza, of course. But you can find others. If you happen to be an IHG member, which I am, I really enjoy their perks. I do look for IHG, and I could say, hey, I want this to be an IHG place that I stay so I can use my points. It'll tell you, here's the name, here's the ratings, here's what it'll do, and give me direct click straight into it. It gives me the map. It gives me everything I need. That's the difference in using an AI engine versus using a search engine. So we'll go deeper into how to use this, where to use it. This is one of 1,000 things it can do, but you'll get the point. I hope at least this makes you understand. If you just go to gemini.google.com, or you can just search for Google Gemini, it'll take you here. It's worth the time, it's worth the effort. For things like this, it's really, really on top of things. Definitely recommend. Next up on our list is Grok. Now, Grok is the wonderfully named AI engine behind X.com, or if you're old school like me, Twitter. I've had a Twitter account since, 2008, I think. It's been a minute. But Grok is now that AI engine in it. You can do a lot with Grok. You can do a lot with Gemini, you can do a lot with ChatGPT, you can do a lot with all of them. But each of them has its own flair of things. So I'm going to show you the same prompt in these other engines, the same one that I showed you in Gemini, to kind of give you an idea of what the different feel is. So I'm going to use the same one here. I'm going to drive back to Nashville from the villages. I want to split the drive into 2 days and find a nice place to stop along the way. So I put it in, I tell it to go, it starts searching. Here's its recommended plan. Is day 1, drive to Macon. So this is a little bit closer than the one that Gemini told me. The first day on Gemini was like 6.5 hours going up to Marietta, which is just north of Atlanta. I guess the thinking was to get through the Atlanta traffic because we all know what a pain that is. I dig it. This one is saying go just south of Atlanta. So go to Macon, Georgia. Now, you'll notice one of the things it did here that it didn't do in Gemini was it saying, hey, here's the best route, but by the way, here's the stops along the way. Very cool. So it's even saying, 45 minutes in, 2.5 hours in, here's your arrival in Macon. Overnight stay. Now, Gemini gave me links directly to the hotels. It gave me, what perk programs they were on. Like I mentioned, I tend to look for IHG. By the way, I could have put that in the prompt this time, but I wanted to use the same prompt. But here's where to stay. Comfortable yet upscale and convenient. Marriott City Center. Why here? Here's some amenities, pricing and booking. Now it does say, it does have links on here to like the TripAdvisor and places like that. I will show you where you can find the links to this. It doesn't make them as easy as Gemini did. So it has more suggestions, more verbiage, it's saying more, but it's kind of hiding the links. I'll show you. So alternatives, if sold out, it gives me a couple of other options. Then day 2, from Macon to Nashville, continue north through Atlanta, watch for traffic, use Waze for real-time updates. Big fan of Waze. If you're not using Waze to drive, I don't know how to help you. That's the best program out there. If you're inside the villages and you're using your golf carts, yeah, then you use the village's golf cart app. But on the roads, I still use Waze. Now, again, it's telling us where to stop. Atlanta area. Let me give you a hint. Don't stop in Atlanta. Not unless there's something very specific you want to see there. Don't stop in Atlanta. Now, Chattanooga? Yeah, Chattanooga's a lot of fun. Chattanooga Choo Choo, the Hilton there, not Monteagle Mountain, Lookout Mountain, the Incline Railway, big fun. But yeah, don't stop in Atlanta. You will pass a couple of Buc-ee's along the way, though. You kind of have to stop at Buc-ee's. You have to. It's the rules. I don't make the rules. By the way, though, even if you're not a big fan of how crowded Buc-ee's are, their prices are always significantly less than every other place along the way. So I still recommend stopping, if for nothing than top off the gas. But it tells you when you arrive in Nashville. Now, Gemini was much shorter than this, more concise. It gave me a longer first day, shorter second day. It gave me direct links, and it showed me a map. All really cool stuff. But I'm going to use Waze, so I don't really need the map. I did like the links to the hotel. What have I got here? You'll notice down here it says 25 sources. If I click on these, it'll start opening these up. And then if I click on the individual sections here, it'll tell me what it's found. Best halfway marks. So again, still useful. It doesn't give me the direct links to the hotels. That could be better. Now, I do like that it immediately follows up with like, hey, what's going on in Nashville on New Year's? Now, I've been meeting friends every 4th of July and New Year's for decades now. Big group of us. All of our kids have grown up together. It's been amazing. So I know where I'm going on New Year's Eve. But man, if I didn't have plans, Grok can hook me up, because look at all of the stuff that's coming up in here. And all it was a suggested prompt from Grok to say, hey, what's going on New Year's Eve? Venues, parties, family friendly, low key. Pretty cool. And like I said, we're going to do a deeper dive into Grok. I'll have a full video on it, 15-20 minutes long, about a lot of the things you can do there as far as coding and graphics and videos and all that neat stuff. Stay tuned for that. Right now, though, let's move into ChatGPT. And that brings us to ChatGPT, the OG, the original one that was out, the one that all of us could use 2 years ago, 2-ish years ago. It is the one that was first commercially available to everyone, and the one most of us started using, even in those early days, if you could get it to work, because those first 6-8 months, it was tough to even get logged into it. But it did give us our first taste of it. Now, the smart move there is that ChatGPT has become the colloquial definition of AI interfaces, right? Oh, ChatGPT that, or I'm going to use ChatGPT for this. But you may be using Grok or Gemini or Copilot or one of the others, but a lot of people have kind of made that the generic, even though it is a very specific product. Now, I'm going to use the same prompt here that we used in the others, but I'm doing that just to show you the difference in what the same prompt gives us in each of the engines. Keep in mind that ChatGPT tends to be used for really creative stuff. That's what I've found. They're all creative in some fashion, but ChatGPT seems to have a special niche there. A lot of times, if you're watching other YouTube videos that are talking about using AI to help you with idea creations or coming up with business ideas or investments or whatever it is, they're talking about, they will tell you specifically to use ChatGPT. Well, it is really good for all those things. It's also good for dumping in that big long email that you got from Medicare, Medicaid, your insurance company, homeowners insurance, the mortgage company, any of that stuff that you've got to put in here and say, man, I am not a lawyer. I don't understand all this. I need this broken down into simple terms. That's what ChatGPT really shines at, understanding language. Now, this time we're just going to use it for the same prompt, but this really isn't its strong suit. You will notice that it has attach, search, and study under it. It's a really neat way to learn a new skill. If you want to know how to do something, if you want to know how to do woodworking, you've never planted a thing in your life, you want to take up gardening, you can tell ChatGPT to do that. Now, again, I will be doing a longer, full fleshed out video on ChatGPT and a lot of its common uses. That'll be coming up shortly. But you can do a lot with this. And again, they each kind of have their specialties, so knowing what to use when is really the idea here. Now, while this is thinking, I will tell you that the thing that makes any of these AI engines work, the engine works the way the engine's going to work. The way I want it to look, the information I want to get out of it is really dependent on how well I prompt the engine. The prompt in this case is that part where I said, hey, I want to drive back to Nashville and here's the stuff I want you to tell me. That's the prompt. That prompt can be thousands of characters long. And I will have a separate video completely about how to properly prompt AI. But just keep that in mind. You don't have to make it short. You can ramble on. You can just brain dump into it. It'll take it. Like I said, you can put thousands of characters in there. So do that. Let's take a look though and see what it gave us for that same prompt that we put in the other engines. See what it gives us. Here's my suggested 2-day drive, total of 640 miles. So again, same mileage, same time frame, splitting it into 2.5-hour days. This one is again telling us to stop in Macon, Georgia. It's giving us the Hampton Inn as a recommended stop, the sample 2-day itinerary, and hey, if you want, I can pull up some more hotels. Do you see the difference? Like with Gemini, it gave us a map and links to the hotels, and it gave us a longer first day but a shorter second day so that we arrived a little bit fresher. Grok gave us an even split in Macon, just like this one did, and said, hey, you're going to stay at this place, and here's all the stuff you can do, and here's some stops along the way, and right, a lot of detail in there, even giving suggestions on what to do in Nashville when you get there. This one is just saying, okay, well, drive up here. That's it. That's really all it is. The only thing it prompts you afterwards is to build the list for you. So while ChatGPT was the OG, it was the first one out, it's the one everyone used, it's honestly not the easiest one to use. And again, once you get familiar with prompting, you can get a lot out of ChatGPT. It's just not as user-friendly up front, surprisingly. But like I said, I'm going to do that full video on this, so that'll be on the channel soon. You'll be able to go through this and get a really solid idea of what it does do. The things it does very, very well. The things it's designed to do, beautiful. But we'll go into deeper depth about that in the upcoming video. Right now, let's do a quick overview of Copilot Chat, just because I've already done a video on Copilot Chat. You can find it on my channel. It's the one uploaded right before this one. But I do want to hit it in here for the sake of consistency and show you what it'll give us. So let's jump into Copilot. And now we're going to do a quick trip through Microsoft Copilot Chat. Yes, I've already done a video on it. It's the one immediately prior to this one on my channel. However, there's a lot of things we didn't cover on that one either because it wasn't a super deep dive. None of these are, 10-hour courses. They're 15, 20-minute overviews. I'm going to use the same prompt in here that we've been using just because I want you to see the differences in the way they think. One of the things you can do differently with Copilot that really stands out above like ChatGPT, Grok, and Gemini is the fact that I can change how it works. So I can tell it to think smarter, think deeper, give me a fast answer, right? This ought to be easy, just give me something quick. I can tell it to balance between those things. There's a lot of different steps I can take. I'll break all that down. Probably going to do a second video around Copilot Chat just because there are so many things it can do. And like I said, I use it every day at work, so it's something I'm very, very familiar with. But I want to see what the difference is here. Keep in mind, Copilot Chat, Copilot is really designed around business use. That is its main market. Let's see what it gives us. So I want to drive to Nashville for New Year's from the Villages, want to split the drive. So you'll notice that it does give me a hotel right off the bat, but it's not a hotel in the middle, it's a hotel at the end. Saying, oh, okay, well, I assume that the place to stay overnight you probably mean in Nashville, right? Why would I not think that? That isn't what I meant, but you'll notice it's the only one of the engines that thought that way. Something to note. Now it says, hey, the halfway point between these is around Macon, right? Two of the other three have said that. So that's a perfect spot to split your drive into 2 days. So here's my breakdown. Drive to Macon and then to Nashville. Both legs are manageable. Overnight stay recommendations. While the card above shows the Holiday Inn Nashville, that's in Nashville itself. For your overnight stop halfway, the best is Macon, Georgia. Town sits right in the midpoint. Macon is especially appealing because of the historic downtown, so it's giving me a little information about Macon, but it doesn't tell me where to stay. Why not? It's just the way it thinks. However, one of the things you'll notice here that the others didn't have was, I have a specific option here. Would you like me to suggest specific hotels in Macon for your overnight stay? Well, yes, I would. So what I'm going to do is just copy that out, drop it into the prompt bar, and let it see what it says. So now it's giving me a very complete breakdown of the hotels in Macon. Gives me a bunch of them where the others really only gave me one option each. That's fine. It picked the one it thought was best and it didn't want to drown me in options. But again, remember that Copilot thinks in more of a business sense than a personal sense. It's saying, here's all of your options. Which one do you prefer? Now, any of these that I want to go to, I can click on that directly and it'll give me more information about that specific place. And you see it's kind of deep diving. It's threading you down saying, here's the overall, now let's dive deeper on each level. It's just a difference in the way Copilot thinks. Personally, I like it because it's very, very detailed. It always wants to give you the why of its choices. So in this case, it's saying, hey, this is why it's a good choice for you. It's perfectly positioned to break up easy on and off of I-75. And Holiday Inn Express is reliably comfortable. And I know I stay in a lot of them. Now, there are other suggestions it'll offer. You can keep going, keep going, keep going. And one of the things that you can do here that you couldn't do in the others, and I do point this out in the longer video, is I can edit this in a page, meaning I can save all this data off and then email it to myself. Or even better, if I have Copilot on my phone, I don't even have to email it to myself. I can just bring up Copilot on my phone and all this information will still be there, including links, driving directions, the whole 9 yards. So that's really the difference in the way they think. And you'll start seeing that the more AI tools you use. A very, very good way to figure out which one works best for you, which one thinks the way you do, is do what we've done today. Use the same prompt, the exact same prompt, in several different places and see what options it gives you. Copilot Chat is awesome. But again, I'm a little biased because I use it every day. All right. Check out the other video for that one and we'll wrap up this one. And that's a wrap on today's top 5 AI engines that you're likely to come across in your day-to-day world. We covered Siri, we covered Google Gemini, we covered Grok, ChatGPT, and dipped our toes back into Microsoft Copilot Chat again just for a minute. As I said, we already have a video on Copilot Chat that's up, although I may do another one just to even expand more because it really does do a lot. But I am going to do separate videos that cover Siri, Gemini, Grok, and ChatGPT to go dive deeper into each of their capabilities, so stay tuned for those. I hope you enjoyed today. I hope you walk away understanding a little bit more when people say, hey, did you use ChatGPT? Have you seen Gemini? Have you used Grok? That you have a better understanding of what it does. If you do have other questions, concerns, drop them down in the comments. I try to respond to all comments that come in. And if this was useful, I'd really appreciate you subscribing and liking the video. That stuff really does help brand new channels like this, and I would appreciate it. So I'll see you on the next one. Be looking for those next ones to come out very quickly around those other engines. And we have a lot more tech on the way. Tech Dad is here to help. Let me know how I can do that for you. We'll see you next time.